We're going to go ahead and have ourselves a rather swift part 3. Because in the first 2 parts we covered really all the stuff I wanted to cover. That this opening from Bbyong brilliantly uses the Third Reaper as a way to excuse me, set the economy up oh so just nicely. Then we saw the use of heavy early upgrades and then Thors. The Thor's doing a great job of being just an all-purpose unit until we can sort of see what he's up to with our Hellions and kill him. We saw the counterattack. We saw that dealing with swarm hosts is much easier than I think the typical meching player would do, because a mech player generally wants to go head-on against things, and you do that against everything except swarm hosts. You just go around it. And then we saw the wonderful surround from Bbyong, and he made 34 swarm hosts look extremely easy to kill off. Cool things like the Vikings, continued Thor production, some expanding patterns. And now I want to look at this second game that they played that's on Altruism Stronghold, a much, much bigger map. And we're going to see Bbyong take a much different approach. And I love when players just play the map, not a build order. Obviously, I mean, these spaces are huge. Look at this gigantic-ass distance, and the attack path is like 1, 2, 3, 4, then 5, and then 6, and technically 7 on that back end. I mean, there's like almost uncountably many in the middle there. So what does Bbyong do? Goes for the usual command center first on this map. Everyone goes for mini bases first. True is doing it too. I think really smart to get his first hatch outside the base and his second hatch inside, because this is where we need to begin spreading creep early. So good! Marine says, get out. Go on, Russian, get out. Bbyong building all his stuff up. He's going to be going for a big old blue flame play. The Legend of the Blue Flame. Now look at the way he does this. First, getting a very early third command center makes all the sensies. Then getting himself up the second factoire. Why Blue Flame Hellions on this map? Because we really want to exploit how wide open this whole region is. How hard it is to have anything defending this front. I mean, this is a very simple thing to say. The entrance to the main is hard to contain. The entrance of the main is hard to contain. So nifty. Nifty thrifty United States, we're going to be opening up with the Mass Blue Flame Hellion, and you asked, well, what's a good way to follow that up? With the bio. Why? Because Mech's bad on this map. We want to exploit the immediateness of this contain issue by going for the Hellions. We want to exploit this little angle right there, yeah. And it will be also exploited. But then all the rest going straight into bio. What I'm going to do is I'm going to give you the reward of seeing how kick-ass this is. And watch Bbyong. Watch Bbyong's production tab. He just waltzes straight on up. Well played, Queen. Good job. I commend you for your effort. A for effort. Hellions still getting produced. Most build orders would say, lift the factories. You want to give them the barracks to get additional Marines. Nope, not on this map. On this map, this is still a weakness. I'm still going to exploit it, damn it. Oh, yeah. Oh, yes. Now, supply-wise, look at that. 62 to 51. 96 to 78. Excellent. This is why supply counts can be deceiving. Bbyong has himself up a third base. Bbyong is flooding the shit out of extra barracks. Bbyong has begun to add on tanks and mines. What? Tanks and mines. Huh? Tanks and mines, dude. Last thing he's getting is the starport. Tanks and mines, nice defensive tools. Because he saw a roach. But guess what? Not all that much else is going to change. Because this is still the weak spot. We like to drill the weak spots. Seems not to be working out very well, doth it? Not a big deal. We've forced out a lot of roaches. We've likely delayed his spire a little bit, but in True's case, not really, because True is a boss. But Bbyong has himself set up a lovely defense, is now getting tunneling Miney Claws, getting another command center. I mean, like, all the other pieces to his build are not just in place, but are, like, like really in place. 8 barracks going to be coming up, and the 4th command center. I mean, one of the big things that Bbyong has cut actually is missile turrets. So let's watch some tactic tree. Weirdly, by making so frickin' many, where's the there it is. By making so frickin' many Hellions, I think he made like 19 or something crazy. Making so many of those, he's got himself his nice key set up where he can't lose right now. So what is he gonna do to win? Also notice that with these early factories, he can go mine Thor very, very, very easily. This is going to be the big money move of this game. You heard me talk about, in part 1, why I really hate Zerg vs. Terran when I'm the Terran guy, going for me good old bio, is that I feel like when I move out, if it's wrong, I'm just going to get roasted. I'm going to get my ass handed to me, because all the Zerg units are faster than my Terran units. Except the false hope thrusters that let me convince myself that I might be able to get away before I'm fucking dead. So yeah, Bbyong we see using some very nice terrain moves to be able to say, oh, I've been spotted, let me run to a location that only Mutalisks could get to, so that the Mutalisks will then go away. One of two things is going to happen. Bbyong sees the Mutas here, and makes a stand against the Mutas, and then knows that this army at the front has no Mutalisks contending it along this path. Or, he sees no Mutas, and he's like, alright, I guess I'm going to pressure again. We see just a good placement to deal with Mutalisks. We see another expansion coming up, rather uncommon, but look at these drops. There's a little drop guy, got absolutely smacked. Like it wasn't a problem. I'm actually going to go to the Bbyong cam and I'm going to Alt-F it. So that way we can see the bright red of Zerg clearly on the mini-map. So here's the Mutas. Hey, one of two things happens with these extreme side drops. Either we're going to see no Mutas and we're going to continue to apply pressuring, or we're going to see the Mutas and we're going to be like, oh dude, that's a really good time to attack, isn't it? We're getting pooped on by some Baneling landmines. Why cut so far this way? Because there's an expansion here. If we cut like this, along what would seem to be the closest path, yes, or even just simply like this, we are leaving this entire right side open and exposed. Now that we're moving way the hell out here, it's very hard for anything to be ever going for our expansion down there.
Mineral field depleted.
And if we actually look at where the units are, there's no units really anywhere except at this collected pack. If we didn't do this nice cut into the middle, we might want to be leaving Marines here, we might want to be leaving more units here, but really nice cut. Really nice. Mines. Pretty fast with the movement. Uh-oh, counterattacks. And look at this boss stuff. Bbyong just rallies in, man. He just keeps rallying in. He's gonna let himself get cut off. Kind of stinkers, but I mean, this is not the most beautiful micro that you would ever see. But on the back end, we got the macro. Oh, he's gonna pull up here. He's gonna pull to a place that only Mutalisks would be able to hit at. And then, you know what? If the Mutalisks are here, then that opens up opportunities somewhere else. And then if I see Mutalisks somewhere else, oh, there they are. Now, I have a clear opportunity with these guys. First, unloading safely. I mean, it's just a really nice exploit of this far side stuff. So yeah, look at these little drops. Little drops, little annoying drops, no big deal. Trying to get some stuff out of position. Uh-oh. Little drops over here. SCV count, not very high. 69. LOL. So, okay, now all of a sudden, our opponent can opt to do some sort of big ol' bust-ol' attack, but we have all the macro in the known universe to be able to reinforce on the backside, and we're just going to make a huge mega drop up at the top side, and this little drop over here. I mean, Bbyong is just... This was the... I'm willing to let this die medevac to find out where the Mutalisks are. it just so happened to deal some huge damage. But we're seeing a completely different take here. The usual mobility of Ling Baneling is not keeping the Terran all contained. Bbyong is just using great tactics. Keep his enemy down. His expansion hasn't really gotten messed with very much. Very nice. Now, if we are confused as to what's being spoken about, have no fear, because everything gets reset right here. Big attack. Obviously, you're going to have a micro situation against Ling Baneling Yuta at some point in time. And yeah, feels pretty good. So now what? Now what do we do? There's a medevac that just died. Nice. So, medevac gets sent to the extremes. Now, one of two things is going to happen. There's going to be Mutalisks here. And we're going to drop somewhere like here, where we can face the Mutalisks. Or we're going to deal a lot of damage. You know what else seems good? This other medevac over here. Same thing. We're either going to see the Mutalisks, and it's going to open up an opportunity somewhere else, or we're going to be able to deal some damage. Very nice little movement here. Seems very good. Oh, I see a Mutalisk. Well, I'm just going to go ahead and keep drilling with this. By the way, I know there's a medevac drop happening over here, but I want to focus on this one. Everything else is just sitting there, chilling. Why? Because I don't know where the Mutalisks are, man. Oh, found the Mutalisks! Go, team! Alright, this drop just happened to work really nicely. Now that we see the Mutalisks up there, oh, what a fantastic relief we actually get to move out with our whole damn army. There's the Mutalisks. Keep the Mutalisks annoyed. Oh, wow, we should always just drop where we can engage the Mutalisks and nothing else. Ah, this seems so smart. Some scans. Oh! Picking them apart. It seems so easy, doesn't it? Just send out the medevac. Oh, you know what? I see those Mutalisks. And anytime you see Mutalisks, it opens up an opportunity. Such as for this big attack to happen, or for another drop to happen along the left side. Something like that. Oh. Oh, hey. Well, if you're doing this right, you should eventually just break a position. So you just continue to let it get brung. Look at these medevacs. Smartly moving all the way around the far outside of the map. So lovely. Looks like some stuff getting shut down. Oh, dude, you know this drop? Dude. You know what this drop's about? This is the one drop where I feel like it just doesn't matter anymore. Zerg's lost this a lot. He's lost this. We're just doing a coordinated double-pronged attack. This is one of like the first actual real double-pronged attacks this game. Almost all the rest of the time it was find the Mutalisks and bait the Mutalisks away so we can set the push up, and we wind up using the same technique here. I just don't want you to think that the important aspect is the double-prongedness of any of this. It's the little guys, the stuff that's focused on the drop, forcing the Mutalisks to be in one position, and when they're in that one position, then we can rush up and set this stuff up. This wouldn't have been able to get set up otherwise. True. Oh, Mutalisk dying. Alright, here's Bbyong. He's in the main. He's killing everything off. Alright, I'm done with the show. I'm done. Ask your questions. Ask your questions! Guys, I'm going to play Tomb Raider tomorrow. I'm really excited. Mutalisks, what are you going to do? Die me to death? Oh shit, there's no Marines here. Wow, those are hard to kill. Rally ho! Alright, look, he wins. GG. Okay. Subscribers off. Subscribers off! Oh, Utoro Kyoya. How many mules does it take to make Magic Box effective against a group of Thors? Magic Boxing is just always effective. It takes one to be effective. It's just a technique to maximize the effectiveness of any number of mutas. Okay. So, Executora Dune says, Day 9, would adding Widow Mines be better along with Hellbats mixed in to deal with Ro16 and Thor's Bermuda and medium numbers of Swarm Hosts since infrastructure is already there in Game 1? Let's see. I'm trying to parse the question. Would adding Widow Mines be better to deal with Roachling and Thor's Bermuda and medium numbers of SH since infrastructure is already there? I don't like mines against Ling Roach at all. They don't really seem that versatile. Here's what I think of mines. Mines are really good when there is a high probability of getting a big boom. A big zhoo. They're not consistent. A single Ling can set off a mine, so when you are in those early game scenarios where you don't have a lot of units and you need a mine hit to be able to stay alive, I don't like it at all. I much prefer the relying on Hellbats, Hellions, Thors, Banshees, Vikings. In my mind, mines are much more so a late game unit. A mid and late game unit, and not at all like a key defense thing. I think there's a lot of attacks that will use a mine early, and then maybe you can pull it back and get a little bit of extra value out of it defensively, but I don't have any faith in mines. I think mines stink. I'm down on mines. I hate them when I'm meching, with very few exceptions. And there are exceptions, but I'm not even going to bring them up. Man, I realized midway through answering that question, I'm like, man, I sound like, I think mines are like racist or something. Like, oh God, I have no respect for mines whatsoever. It's like, what? Yeah, I don't think mines are that strong for that reason. And I encourage you to test that out. For instance, if you are up against, let's say you play a game, here's the way that I would test it. I would say, okay, let me play some games where I go for mech, and I'm not going to build the mines ever. I'm going to do exactly what was in this game, and we'll see how things go. And you do that a couple times, and let's say you have 5 replays of you against a Zerg. What you do is you go to the period where you say, maybe I should have gone mines here. And then you open up the HOTS unit tester, and you use the exact army that he had in the game, and pair it with the exact army that you had, but you swap things out for mines. And you'll just see very, very quickly how fragile and easy or how fragile and bad it is. Let's see. Hope that was a reasonable answer, Executor. Hope that was reasonable. But those mines, Jesus. Those mines, they sounded horrible. Those racist, homophobic mines. And I do not support those. I will not support it at all. Liquid Hope says, Day 9, I feel like it was overall the better play for a Korean with the capability for huge amounts of multitasking and micro compared to Mech. Do you have any thoughts on this? Yeah, Mech's way easier to do. Way the hell easier. Way the double the hell easier. It's position, you say, put tank there. I lose game. I guess next game I put tank there. I mean, it's really straightforward what the learning is, as opposed to when you go bio and you're like, shit, I didn't have 500 APM and I couldn't split my Marines against Banelings. I don't know if my build sucks, but I do know that I'm bad against Banelings. It's way more straightforward. I love Mech as an educational tool. Uh-oh. Someone in chat tried to say to stop going, Uh-oh. Who's about to power trip? Here comes the power. Here it comes. Get shit on. Day 9 was really vicious today. He hummed at me. And he hummed like Chamberlain at age 8. That's a Dark Crystal joke. Oh, tank to come, so great question. How many tanks should I keep to deal with swarm hosts when I push out I die. I'm going to show you the fantastic tool to use. Now, obviously, there's no clear answer. Positioning, upgrades, unit counts, etc. all are a big issue. Well, don't worry, because check this out. You know what? I'm even going to have a cameo in here. Oh, that's my chat. Okay. Alright, here we go. Cameo time. Alright, check this out. Check this out. Arcade. Boom. Alright, check this out. HOTS unit tester. Alright, boom. Create a game. We're gonna do a test. Now, the thing is that testing is not about having a supreme, straight-up answer. It's not about being like, I need 7 tanks. You want to do a broad range of tests that give you an understanding. So let me give an example. So let's actually switch the terrain to, let's go with a ramp. So this seems like a rather reasonable thing. It's kind of a wide ramp. And for Terran, I'm going to do a whole bunch of siege tanks. I'm going to go ahead and siege them. Alright, well, I have 6 tanks. Zerg, I'm going to go ahead and make 9 swarm hosts. Wow, that's very imbalanced in terms of numbers. That's fine. And I'm just going to test it. See how it goes. Well, 1 shot gets off. You guys are the slowest shots ever. Go. Go. And let's see, and notice that I'm not just like, alright, I got my data, I'm done. I'm actually just letting it go a few times to be able to figure this out. And that sort of thing. So I would let it run a little bit, and then I'd go, you know what? Let me upgrade tank attack to level 2. There we go. And then let me start this game. And then let me see the differences. I'm going to try to get them in the same formation to control variables. You dummies. I hit the siege button for the swarm host. I hit E instead of hitting R, so they just waltzed away. Let's see. Is this a lot better or a lot worse? Wow, none of them managed to get through. And in fact, you can even do future tweaks and adjustments. You can say something like, what if I am clicking in the middle? Doesn't seem to have that much of an effect. And what I would probably do is I would switch the terrain up to a small ramp. With the same old things. This is something that you would end up seeing a lot more on Heavy Rain. That entrance that's in the middle is a small ramp. And this is what I would do, and I'd be like, wow, the ramp doesn't really seem to have all that much of a difference. Actually, I'm going to add in a few more swarm hosts. Because we might say something like, how does 20 swarm hosts do here? And I went up like a huge amount to 20 because I might theorize to myself, you know, with a tiny ramp, I don't think that the locusts can even really get in there. I think that they're going to get a little bit more bottlenecked. Okay, so notice that I went from 9 to 20, and all that happened was one tank took some extra damage. So this is actually very useful in a small choke circumstance. I actually might not need to increase my tank count by tremendously much. I mean, already, a tank takes, like 2 locust rounds is about the amount of time it takes for a tank to pop out. So I could actually have replenished that tank already. Okay, cool. So again, I'm not trying to look for something like 6 tanks hold 9 swarm hosts. Bleh. I'm just going to test a range of things. So, you know, here's another thing that I might want to test. Let me do, let's do a field. Wide open, spread out field. Oh God. dummy. Burrow. This just didn't go well. So let me reset this. I accidentally missed one. I tried to re-click it and I re-rallied everything. Alright, I just tried to burrow the tanks. See how it goes. Watch them rally behind. Seems to be going a lot worse. I save about a tank and a half a volley. Or actually, I should say after 2 volleys, I lost 1 tank with a small range. And in a field, I lost 5 tanks in 2 volleys. So great. Now, we also learned that tanks don't have burrow. But what have I done? I've asked myself a question. I've done exactly what any good player should do. Or excuse me, I should say our question asker asked what any good player should do. Mr. Tecumseh said, how many tanks should I get in order to safely move out? And we looked at a big ramp, at a small ramp. We varied the number of swarm hosts. With one test had 9, the other had 20. We did it with upgrades, with not upgrades. And we can just keep fiddling and testing with that because this took me like 4 or 5 minutes. And I've learned something very, very useful about swarm hosts. That with that small ramp, doesn't really make a huge difference when the swarm host count gets huge. But if I'm in a big field, man, I'm going to get shit on by some swarm hosts. Cool. I'm going to go. Tomorrow I'm going to play Tomb Raider. Have a wonderful rest of the day. Thanks for tuning in. I had a lot of fun today. Woo!